The hardest thing to control in aim is not your hand or your mouse, it's your own mind. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips that I gave in a coaching session to better approach thinking and controlling your own mind. Please like, subscribe, comment, and make this video get big. As long as you guys keep giving me positive feedback and views, I will keep giving you sections of paid aim coaching sessions for free and streaming these sessions on Twitch.
So my main goal is like getting out of my own way when aiming because I'll be doing fine. In fact, I'm like completely unconscious just hitting a high score. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, oh dang, it's happening. And then it like I mess up. Uh there also in game, I can go into a state like one game against good players. So it's not inconsistency in that way. And I'll just like dominate them because my aim's like perfect. But then the next game, I'm against, I don't know, bronzes in Valorant, and I'm just trash. Like I'm just whiffing. And it's because I think it's because I'm like trying. I don't know. It's hard to get out of my own way. But aside from that, I would say mouse control and microflicks and stopping power are the main things. That's kind of a lot. Those
Did
are
you
the
say
main
you
things
played
that I'm
Valorant
looking for.
and Overwatch?
Yeah, I don't really care about Overwatch
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
What should I think about while I'm aiming? Or like what do you think about when you aim?
What do I think about when I aim?
Or do you think about nothing?
This is a good question, right? So, first of all, I want to go over a few things, right? So, like, to make very, very fast flicks and, like, just constantly be moving, like, no time to think, right? That would require you to think about nothing. Like, you ever heard of Who is Aqua?
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking to him a month or two ago because I wanted to figure out exactly how his mind works. I ask him what he thinks about when he's doing like his top runs. He says like some of his like best scores he'll just be having conversations during, and his hand just moves. He doesn't really have to think about the game itself. He doesn't have to think about anything, right? He just lets it happen, because if you try to think when you're playing at such a high level, then you and moving your hands so fast, and the thinking will slow you down so much that you can't move, right?
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
In that kind of scenario that you're playing right now, that's probably a similar case. You're making 240 shots in 60 seconds. You basically just have to let it happen. Like, you can kind of just try to focus on, I'd say ideally you wouldn't be like doing what Aqua's doing where he's completely disfocused, but instead just like focusing on the scenario without really trying to like consciously think about anything, like just a clean blank mind. And sometimes I find playing music helps a bit with that. If playing the music helps you focus and you feel like it's not distracting you, you can play the music. If playing music kind of feels like it distracts you and confuses you, then I'd say don't play the music, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So then, other than that, let's see, who is Aqua? It says that. And I mean, just there's people who try and think a lot about their aim, especially people who, like, for high level players who play scenarios where that's kind of allowed, right? Like, very
Yeah.
good dynamic scenarios are like precise tracking. And there was a guy called Sev, right? I'm not sure if you've heard of him. I coached him probably 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and he has some divine scores in RA benchmark precise tracking, like scenarios where you have to be very precise with your tracking, obviously, and divine scores obviously mean like top top tier scores. Like, it's probably between Nova and Astra if you convert it to Voltaic. I'm not sure exactly where it would fall though. It's the highest
Mm.
rank in the RA benchmarks, and the point is that Sev would always like focus like on like thinking about moving his fingers, moving his hand in a specific way. And then when I told him to stop doing that, he said it helped his aim trainer aim a little bit, but it helped him in game, like in Overwatch with his aim there, like made him 10 times better just by not doing that, right? So I'd
Yeah.
really say like try to avoid thinking too much about what you're doing and overthinking a lot about motor movements. And if you're going to think about anything, like in a scenario like that, or in a scenario like one wall, six targets, small, where or maybe extra small, where you might only hit like 100 targets, 120, 130 targets in a minute, right? And you can kind of have a bit more time to think. Basically, just think to yourself, hit, miss every time you click, right? If it's a click
Okay.
and it hits, hit. If it misses, miss. Just try and run that through your mind if you find yourself getting distracted, right? And if you can just see that unconsciously and you don't have to do that, that's fine too. And then for tracking, same thing. Like if you notice, maybe focus on one specific issue. If you notice yourself trailing, say to yourself trailing and try and get back on the target. If you notice yourself on target, just either be silent or say good, 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 trailing, 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 good, 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 you know? Or whatever
Okay.
the issue
Yeah, that
you
makes
might
sense to me.
have that you want to work on. If you're working on stopping power and you flick, shake a bit, and then hit the target, instead of saying hit, maybe say shake. Or if you flick smoothly and like your stopping power was good, but you still missed the target, maybe say good stop or whatever. Or if you hit the target, just define the error as whatever you want to work on. The error doesn't have to be being on target or not being on target.
Okay. That helps a lot because I was kind of just saying miss or hit.
Yeah, that'll
But
help.
like over flick, under flick, or off or stuff like that, specifying it more definitely seems like it would help
Yeah.
move in the right direction a lot faster. Is there a method you personally use to perform better?
What kind?
Like just in general?
What do you mean by that? Like mental approach?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Uh,
know if you do anything. I was just asking.
I mean, my main thing is just experimenting with like different things and seeing if I like things, and then like looking into different like I look into so many methods that honestly half of them I don't even get to try, which kind of annoys me. And because I just got into a pace of like pumping out a lot of content really faster than I should have before I started doing the coaching streams, which I turned into like YouTube videos. I'm trying to like fix that. So there's a lot of like methods I've looked into that I think could work, but I haven't really gotten the chance to try that I've talked about. Like, for
Okay.
example, like eating a snack every time you succeed or have a good scoring run as like kind of reward and
I tried that, by
something
the
like
way.
that. Yeah, I thought of that. It came up in like my psychology class, and I was like, oh, this could actually help a lot, but I never really tried it in game or like various things. There was the meditating after each aim session, which I did for a little while, but then I kind of stopped. And by a little while, I mean I would listen to Future by Paramore every time I'd meditate, right? And that was my number two because it's like mostly just a guitar song and it's very relaxing. And that was like my number two song in 2022
Okay. So quite a bit.
with like 90,000 minutes on Spotify. So I did that a decent bit, especially over
Oh,
the
wow.
summer. Yeah,
Okay.
I was
So
very good at Spotify. Let's see.
do you
Other
think
than
that worked?
Do I think it worked? It's really hard to say what exactly worked. I feel like, in my experience, the number one thing for actually performing well and getting better faster is just actually doing the aim training. Like when you spend too much time thinking about it, like I tend to like hit a plateau, but when I just actually like just commit myself to giving some time there, like that's like the number one factor. Just do the training
Yeah.
and focus on improving a specific thing while you're training rather than just like mindlessly going through the motions. Those are like the two real most important parts of aim training in my opinion.
Okay. I think my biggest takeaway from what you just said is like actually focusing on something to change instead of just
Yeah,
going. Because I do
that's good.
just go.
And I do
I
that a
just
lot
go.
too, but I try not to.
Yeah, I shouldn't.
Yeah, it's like,
Now that I know that though, I will start like
yeah,
writing things
good,
down even just to
good.
start intentionally focusing on.
In conclusion, don't think too much. If you do think, focus on the outcome, not your movements, and actually do the training. Don't spend too much time trying to find shortcuts. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.